been waiting for. There's a man or something inside of this box. Whoever could it be? I think in order to open the box, you may have to say the magic number. And that magic number is a specific power level.
Oh yeah. You can't see it, but you get the idea.
No, that was wrong.
Oh, there he is.
Magic! See? I was in that box, but then I ended up over there. That's some David Copperfield crap right there. By the way, this is our moderator. Say hello, moderator. Now wheel our moderator out of here. Back in the box. Stay in the box. Be good. There's 2 sensu beans in there, so if you get really ill,
Oh man.
use them sparingly, though. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Christopher Sabat. How are you guys doing? God, there's so many people here. This is so awesome. There are a lot of over 9,000 shirts. I'm seeing them out there. That's good. Hey, before I even start talking about stuff, I've got to talk to you about somebody I met earlier today. I actually met, in the parking lot, the actual creator of the original Over 9,000 video. Is that the weirdest thing of all time? Yeah, we actually met and then like part of the world exploded. Like, it was insane. Like there was this moment where like, wait, you did the video? And then and then everything blew up. I'm Christopher Sabat. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I work for this tiny little company in Dallas. They're called Funimation. They're Funimation, the only provider, it seems, of anime. It is the cartel of the American anime business. Started in 1999 with them on this little tiny show. It was called Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Oh, you have? That's so weird. God. I've met a lot of people recently because this is a very prime age. Because I want to describe a situation to you guys. I want to see if you can relate to this. Are there any of you, by any chance, that happen to have just been like in school and maybe like ran home from school every day to watch the specific show on TV? Yeah, seriously, that's when you guys were like 10 or 11 or 12 or 6 or somewhere in that age range. And you still watch it. What's wrong with you? No, I'm kidding. No, I've heard this story again and again recently because you're all old enough to drive now, which is it's the scariest thing. It's like, I know you. You were my, like, thanks for being my childhood. I'm like, it's like, what a terrible childhood you had. If I'm the best thing to come out of it, I'm so sorry. Wow. Gosh, everyone's wearing dark shirts. I appreciate this too. Like, look around. There's a lot of black shirts in the room. Oh, look at this. Somebody just brought me some stuff. Hey, so this is Eric. Say hi, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Eric's what they call in the business my handler, which means he has to do whatever I tell him to do. And he has such a firm grip. Look what I found today. Did you guys see this? That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And this one I got for Brina Palencia.
Oh,
it's the same thing, only it can fit a small child. But because she's obsessed with Piccolo. All right, guys, this is so cool. And it's so nice and warm in here.
Oh, yeah.
Sure beats the cold weather outside. So I started around 1998. I did this character called Vegeta, and then Piccolo and Yamcha, and Mr. Popo and Kami, and all the dragons and gods, and Mez and Zarbon and Raccoon and Jace and.
Wow, that's a whole lot of characters.
Seriously, I did, and I know you're thinking like, God, what a jerk! You just kept all those parts for yourself. I did. There were only 11 actors when we first started working on Dragon Ball Z. On our entire call list, we called in thousands of people to audition, and nobody was really that good. I mean, I'm not saying that they were any better than me. I sucked back then. But we literally were getting people in from off the street when we were first auditioning for Dragon Ball Z. We had to put an ad in the paper because none of the agencies at the time wanted to work with Funimation because anime doesn't really pay that much money. And back then, Funimation didn't have any money, so they weren't really able to pay people a lot of money to work on Dragon Ball Z. So all the actors in town were like, and so we just had to call people in off the street. There was this one guy, we were doing auditions, and he came in, and he was auditions were over, and he came at the last minute, and he's wearing like this brown, kind of dirty, sweaty shirt that had like some sort of ganja leaf or something on it, and he walks in, and they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, the auditions are over," and I took one look at him, I'm like, no. Let that man in. This is his chance. And he comes in and he goes, okay. I'm gonna read for Chizatsu. Tenchin I'm gonna help you, Tenchin Han. I was like, first of all right, we're making an American cartoon here. You don't have to do Japanese voices. And then he goes, okay. I'll try it again. He goes, I'm reading for Bulma. Goku! He just kept laughing the whole time. He, unfortunately, didn't get a role. But a lot of people were cast off of that original casting list. Sean Schimmel, who's Goku, yeah. He was a marionette puppeteer and a French horn player who met him. The original voice of Chaozu worked at a library and was like 50 years old. I'm not kidding, she's like super quiet, but then when you get her to talk, she just went, and then all the windows would break and stuff, so we're like, yeah, that's a good idea. And let's see, Sonny Strait with the Krillin was cast. It's been a really crazy run, and I know I'm probably going to talk a lot about Dragon Ball because I have the biggest connection to that show since I've been working on it for so long, and it never goes away, ever. I've said this on other panels before, in person and at social gatherings, in restaurants, and to random strangers on the street, but I've said, Dragon Ball Z is kind of like a Dragon Ball Z villain, where like you can blow it up, and you think it's done, you think it's over with, and then the smoke clears, and Dragon Ball Z is still standing there going, you'll never defeat me. I have one more transformation. Look at my orange box! No, I have one more beyond it. Look at my yellow box! No, wait. I have another transformation. Now I'm half the episodes. Yeah! Call me Kai. But I've been completely rewritten and partially recast. Okay, so I started on all that. I did all those characters. You guys know them. There's that really short, sweet guy named Vegeta, and he sounds like this all the time. And he's angry. He sounds like he has a constant state of hemorrhoids. Always angry.
And then there's Piccolo. He's like,
You guys like Piccolo. You guys like Piccolo a lot down here because marijuana is decriminalized, I think. But I think Piccolo was kind of the pot smoker of all of them. He spent most of his time like in just kind of in a crater or just in an iceberg, sitting there for a long time, just thinking and listening to people's music from far away because he has really sensitive hearing. And his only job in Dragon Ball really was to tell Gohan what to do. And he treated Gohan kind of like a dog, like, go Gohan, go, stay, do it, don't do it. Do it, Gohan, do it, no, wait, don't do it. You guys are making me sound like I'm saying something nasty. I ain't saying something nasty. I'm just talking about Gohan. Then there's Yamcha, and he sounds like most like my voice, except like he's just kind of like a surfer, and at the beginning, and like Dragon Ball, he's like this awesome a bandit who is scared of women, and at the end, he's just a complete loser. Like, seriously, there was a time at the end of Dragon Ball Z where it really did legitimately seem like, to me, that Yamcha was just sitting around waiting for Goku to die of his heart condition so that he could maybe hang out with Chi-Chi or something like that. Because that's all he did by the end. I mean, granted, he had a bit of a hand through his heart. I mean, that is a tough thing to do, so. But still, poor Yamcha. And so, a reason why I played a lot of these other characters is because I wasn't always originally cast as them. I would just end up, because I was directing the series, having to replace people who would leave. Like, Mr. Popo, for instance, was played for a short while by Chris Kaysen. You guys know Chris Kaysen?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome guy. You'll meet him one of these days. Anyway, good guy. I gave Mr. Popo back to him later on when we were working on Kai because he deserved it. But I was kind of resident mimic at the studio. So when Chris had to leave to go on some sort of theater tour, I was like, I could do it maybe. And so, and which I thought would be fine because it wouldn't be that hard until the Garlic Jr. saga came up, and it was just Mr. Popo's here and Kami's here, and they're always searching for the sacred ointment together. Hurry, Mr. Popo! Okay, Kami. And that the Garlic Jr. saga was just me talking to me. A lot of it. A lot of that show was actually the hardest parts were like when Yamcha was fighting Jice, and they basically had the same voice except one's got an Australian accent and one's like a surfer man. And so, but if you listen very carefully to the original Kai, Jace's very, 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 very last word that he says is "Oi," because that's how Australians die. You know that. That's the last words they say. They say kangaroo or oi when they're dying. I didn't know if you guys. I live there, so I know these things. I have Australian friends, so I'm allowed to make fun of them. So, let's see. Okay, so we worked on Dragon Ball Z forever, and we're still working on Dragon Ball Z to this day. In fact, right now we're in the process of working on the new Namco Bandai game called Battle of Z. Were any of you in the press?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was
They had
there.
a press conference this morning about it. They've already announced it, but it's actually pretty rad. I know you guys have been very faithful to some of these Dragon Ball Z games, and you bought a lot of them, and over time you're like, oh, okay, I've played this kind of before. This seems to be the first one that's going to really break the mold of the Dragon Ball Z games. They've got like 8-player, like multiplayer battles across the world, and it's going to be super rad, and I think you're going to be able to change your characters' costumes, and there's going to be support classes, and like chaos classes and stuff like that, where you're going to be able to act weird and throw somebody else off or whatever. Speaking of which, I always thought when I played, any of you guys ever play EverQuest at all, or any of the? Yeah. I was addicted to that for a really long time, and I hated it when somebody way above my level class would kill me for no reason whatsoever. So I always thought it'd be really funny if they just had a ghosting feature, where if somebody at a really high level killed you for no reason whatsoever, you could just haunt their character. You would just show up kind of in their screen and be able to press their buttons to like use up all their gold or something like that. That's a completely different topic. So after Dragon Ball Z came along, we were working on that. Then we started working on the show called Yu Yu Hakusho.
Here's Kuwabara.
Which people really liked. That was it. Did a lot of you watch it on TV too? Is that why?
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. He's Kuwabara, and he has a sword. And he loves you, Kina. And he has the pinky finger of love. And it was a really fun character to play. Piccolo. Well, hello. I'm talking about Dragon Ball Z again. Thank you. I've just come right back around. No, Kuwabara was such a fun character. I got to work with Justin Cook, who was Justin Cook was the voice of Yusaki Urameshi on that show, or Yusuke as you guys called him.
Yeah.
Yusaki is more formal Japanese pronunciation of his name, or very informal, my own interpretation of his name. And he was the director on that show, which was interesting because he was my engineer through a lot of Dragon Ball Z, which is kind of awesome. So then I got to work for him, and that show lasted forever, and it was really fun. And then this other show, Blue Gender, came along. If you guys know Blue Gender, that show is important. It may not be your favorite show, or maybe you watch it and you're like, meh, but it was important to Funimation because it was the first show to ever be dubbed the way we currently dub anime at Funimation, which is poorly. I'm kidding. No,
You guys are
it was the
fine.
first time that we ever actually had the materials in-house. We had all the sound effects and the music and all the Japanese audio, so I insisted on all the actors, and we never really had this luxury before because of some technical difficulties and the fact that we were using these giant tapes. But this is the first time we were able to play the original Japanese first, and then let the American actor record right afterwards with music and sound effects in their ear, which changes the whole experience. Because that's something that a lot of people may not have known, is that when we were first working on Dragon Ball Z, we didn't have the Japanese materials all the time to work off of.
Right.
In fact, it was so hard to get the materials from Japan at that time because the internet was, you couldn't email anything. You could maybe like stay up all night to download a photo, which would go, right? There were no, you were lucky if there was maybe some GeoCities website maybe about Dragon Ball, and they'd have like one low-res picture of one character that's like, and it was hard to get the materials, and I think a lot of materials like they couldn't even find. I think we were floating in a boat somewhere in Japan, so we ended up having to get a lot of our original Dragon Ball Z materials from Mexico. And I'm not saying that we all went down there and like, hey, let's go hang out in Mexico and then get our illegal copies of it or something. No, but the Mexican dub had just happened, and they're at least the most recent habit. So we got a lot of our dubbed material from our materials from Mexico. So I was going to Dragon Ball Z. And the funniest thing about the Mexican dub is Chi-Chi's name had to be changed for some reason.
So what?
Think about that one real hard.
Anybody know?
They call her Milk. Milk. Get it? I won't explain it anymore. Those of you who have Hispanic friends, ask them about it later. On Channel 22, he says. Telemundo.
52.
Dragon Ball Z, Milk.
It's
I think
Telemundo
someone
52
may
here
have
in
just
LA.
figured it out down there. I don't think these are my waters. Does anyone have can I grab a water from someone? I'm sorry, those don't look like mine. I don't drink small waters. I only drink huge waters. Or medium-sized waters. Okay, so I digress. I keep going back to Dragon Ball Z again. So we worked on that show, Blue Gender, which was really cool. We got to work with materials. And then I got to play the most powerful badass I've ever played. His name is Ayame Soma. Yeah. So yeah, it's my specialty to play like huge dudes with muscles or guys who can shoot fire from their hands. But hey, what a great idea. Let's have him play a tall, thank you. Whoa, unlabeled too. A tall, flaming homosexual dude who loves all of his classmates, and that worked out really well. And it was one of the harder parts I've ever had to play, not because of his persuasion, but because of his ability to speak really fast. Normally my characters speak really slowly and deliberately and hate everyone, but he was just like, yes, Dragon Ball Z, Milk. And then he had this goofy laugh, like, so okay, then nothing happened for about 15 years, and then we started working on, then all these other shows started pouring in. That's when Full Metal Alchemist came in. You guys heard of that one too. He's, I get to play this dude, he's huge, he's got like massive muscles. And he sparkles everywhere he goes. And I've said a lot that he would be a really kind guy to know, because he'd probably do anything for you, except after a while you would wish he would just put on a shirt every now and then. It's like, dude, we are out to dinner, can you please put a shirt on? No! He was a fun character. I have to admit, I loved playing him in the beginning, and then I got really confused because, as you guys know, we don't do these episodes in large groups. You only come in one actor at a time. Each person records one thing at a time. So when your character starts becoming less important, you see less of the episodes. So there was a time towards the end of the series where I'd come in and they go, all right, let's cue up the first episode. and my voice would, I just kind of go, secrets. All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next episode. All right, here's your line.
Where are the boys? Secrets.
And that went on for like a part of the series. I don't even know what the heck happened. It was more fun actually when it got to Brotherhood because I got to. Yeah. Armstrong got to talk a whole lot more, and he has a sweet, sweet sister. That was one of my favorite parts. Okay, then I've done a lot of other shows, and gosh, and I mean, the most fun I've had working on one was probably recently. I played Garter Belt in Panty and Stocking. I had more fun, seriously, dubbing that show than I've ever had in my life. Like, it was the most offensive show I've ever worked on. When Colleen cast me, she's like, you know, Chris, I know you really want to do this, and you are the right person to do it, but do you think people are going to be offended that you're not, like, African American or something? I'm like, dude, if that's the one thing people get offended in this show, then they shouldn't be watching this show, because there's so much nastiness in that show.
But it's a fun character to play.
Let's see, I played Giroro in a show called Sergeant Frog, which I wish was as popular to everybody as it was for you people in this location right here in the room. Because I wish they would just keep making those. It's one of my favorite shows that I've worked on. They're making them, but we're not dubbing them right now. I want to dub more of them. I just don't know when we're going to be dubbing anymore. I know, sad frog moment, all of us. And I can just keep going over my resume real quick, or I'm sure people have some really horrible questions for me that they'd like to ask. Let's go ahead and start since he was first on with his hand up, and he may step up and address you all. Whatever you feel like. Hello.
Hello. That's more of a statement, but that's good.
Yeah, no, I'm not done. Don't worry about
Okay,
that.
just relax. Don't rush or anything.
First of all, who's your favorite character in, like, you've gone over your resume, so I'm not gonna go from point A to point B. Who's your favorite character that you've played in the last 15 years?
All of them. No, Vegeta is still my favorite character to play. It seems like a lame answer, but I was saying to someone, it might have been in the panel the other day, it's like, he's sort of like a roommate that I've had for a really long time, and he's a super jerk, but you can't help but like him because you've known him forever, and you really understand him. I feel like I know that guy pretty well now. Except he can put you in a really nasty mood after you've been voicing him all day. Yeah, go ahead. I'm really bad about picking people up closer, so I promise I'll get to you.
I've had some really bad luck this whole convention, so I was wondering if I could have your autograph.
No. Sorry about your luck. Sure, as long as not everybody copies you. It's only because she's had bad luck, and she's ridiculously cute. That helps too. And it's Kumara, and he has a sword. Or my favorite line of his, sword get longer! Here's your pen. Hope your luck improves. Yes, Thorhammer! Ah, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Thor to the mic.
Well met. Anyway, so this is a question about Dragon Ball Z. You know, the early days when you were first dubbing it, you had to make a lot of decisions about how the characters would sound. I mean, obviously they all speak Japanese with, you know, the Japanese accent. When you were adding accents, what made you want Vegeta and then eventually his father, King Vegeta, to have a British accent when nobody else in the Saiyans have one?
Because British people are jerks, kind of, you know? I'm just kidding. We just added kind of there was a formality to them that we wanted, and also because the British are jerks. We felt like Vegeta, like Planet Vegeta might have just as easily been like a small island in Europe. So that was destroyed by an androgynous creature. Yes, yellow, yes. I'm just making her get a nice workout.
I was wondering if you do the Kamehameha in Ayami's voice. Please? That would be like, wait, hold on, you have to record it first though.
Of course you do. Because we couldn't just enjoy it here. We'd have to enjoy it for everyone. She's gonna listen to it every night before she goes to bed. And have the weirdest dreams of all time. I swear to God, if you kill someone and they find some tape of me in some cassette that you've been listening to every night on repeat, you're gonna be very upset at you. Okay, let's see. Wow. Okay, first time ever for that one. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. I love men. Here we go. May. May.
That was perfect. That was perfect. Oh man.
Dragon Ball Z backpack. Yes, you were gonna get such an awesome workout. Do you guys have another wireless mic or anything over there? Do you guys happen to have another one? We have the only ones. How about this? If someone else wants to be a mic runner person, I'll just talk on one of these bad boys. How about that? I don't see it going in here. Testing. Oh yeah. Not as boomy as I'd like, and there's a little latency, but that's okay. Okay. Sorry. Dragon Ball Z backpack. Question.
I have a question. Actually, you're my favorite hero from Dragon Ball Z. My 3 favorite heroes are Piccolo, Vegeta, and Goku, but you're my 2 favorite.
Oh, thank you.
And you've been actually a tradition in my family because we all watch Dragon Ball Z. Everybody knows the episodes.
Oh, that's really nice. So three generations of Dragon Ball Z watchers. That's awesome.
Also, I was wondering if you could do Vegeta's voice and say Kakarot.
That is an easy request, my friend. Kakarot, unbelievable! That was fun. That was easy. Unlike some questions.
Apologies for the hands that you want to raise up for their own
let's
questions,
see.
of course.
Where can I make you guys run the farthest? Oh.
Try the back.
Oh, weird sock, hand, laundry, streamer thing, sword.
Oh, there it is. Way
Sorry.
in the back.
Sorry, people.
Right here in the back. Yes? Yeah. This guy right here.
Okay.
This one?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you watch the Abridged at all?
What's the abridged?
DBZ Abridged?
No, I never heard of it.
Really?
Tell me more about it. Like, I'm not sure. Let's see. Dodge! Dodge the question. No, I in fact do watch the Abridged series, and I in fact do love the people who make the Abridged series. They were down recently to go to a convention in Dallas, and I got to spend some time with them. I've been encouraging them as much as possible to do as many things as possible because they are ridiculously funny and ridiculously talented. In one of the more recent episodes, I love when they ask about Yamcha, and he's just like hanging from a noose. It's like, anyhow. And the explanation of how Trunks came to be was a pretty good one, too. My room, 10 minutes. All right,
I had a request. That's why
let's see. Some are close to, oh, wow. Green hand puppet. Sorry.
Green hand puppet
Props work really well.
on the left
Hey,
side.
Hey,
sorry.
what's up, man?
I just wanted to know if you had fun playing Roronoa Zolo for One Piece.
Yeah, of course I did. Zoro in One Piece is one of my favorite characters too. And he's, in my opinion, one of the best characters you can play on One Piece. because you get to still ride the boat everywhere, but you don't have to do much. All he does is pretty much like wake up, do something awesome, get mad at Luffy, scream at Sanji, drink beer, and go back to sleep. So he pretty much has the easiest job on the ship, other than just, you know, the constant stress of being a bad Okay, since you guys are already over there, blue shirt, hair, right next to Eric, right behind you. Right behind you, Eric, that one right there. Blue, okay. He has a phone, so that's time. Hey, tell him to call their question in.
It's Yukina.
Hi, Kazula.
Hi, how's it going there? Wait, it's Yukina! Oh my goodness. I think I just wet myself. My pinky finger hurts. For those of you who don't know the show, that does not sound as disgusting as it seems. Sorry, you had a question at what point?
How did you get the feel for like the Kubar's like type of voice?
I took one look at his hair, and then I thought about like, okay, his favorite band is a fake band called Megalaga, or Megalica or something like that.
Okay.
And so I figured he would probably, his inspiration would probably be like bands, and so that's where his voice kind of came from. And I don't know, it just seemed like a fun voice to do. And it has a little bit of stupid in it, because he's kind of a stupid guy a little bit, but he's the most lovable character in the show. I don't know what you're saying, but you're like, she's speaking into the plushie as if like it's gonna communicate with me. He's my favorite character too. Although I said Vegeta earlier, so I guess that makes me a liar. Oh wow, there's so many. Oh wow, Horsehead!
Horsehead.
Of course I say that because everybody's way over there. They're gonna get such a workout. You're so welcome. I'm sorry everybody who didn't bring interesting props.
Hi, Zolo.
Oh, hey.
Hi. I wanted to ask a question, but it was probably already asked earlier. But I was just wondering if I could please get an autograph from you on my One Piece poster, please. I'm only here for 2 days, and tomorrow I'm not going to be here.
I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see what we can do.
Maybe after the panel?
I'm sorry?
Maybe after the panel?
Maybe. Except they're gonna pull me out of here really fast. We'll figure something out. Talk to the guy that has a phone. That one over there.
Right.
I'm just kidding. Maybe I should just do it now, or else it's just gonna get awkward afterwards.
Thank you very much. Thank
Sure. All right, since we've got time, why don't I just autograph something for everyone? I'm just kidding. That would be really awkward. And they're gonna kick me out of this room eventually, really fast. That'll be $85, please. Okay, I haven't seen much One Piece hentai before, actually. That's interesting. That's a sword I have not seen before. You're very welcome.
Wow.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Now the whole room is so awesome looking. Oh my God. So much pressure. How about you right here in the front? When I did Grandpa Rome voice, did I think of Ayame? Many times, actually. Oh gosh, can I sing something? That's always a weird request. Because I always have a hard time remembering the lyrics to that crazy song that he sings. He's like, listen as I tell you what hell should be. And then that's as far as I remember. I should bring the lyrics with me at some point. Oh no, no, you don't have the lyrics. So no one has the lyrics. That's weird. No, they don't exist. Those lyrics are wrong.
Oh, wow.
Just to kind of keep things going and so I don't have to sing, I might move on from that. Thank you for the question, though. It's very sweet of you. Glowing gun!
A lot of people raising their hands.
What? One more question.
I'm a big fan of Sergeant Frog, and Gyro's my favorite character.
I love you.
Also, what was your favorite part of recording Sergeant Frog? Like, what's your favorite scene in the show?
Oh my gosh! Anytime that he and Natsumi have like a weird connection with one another, like, and I also love all of his moments with Mrs. Furbottom, which, as a piece of trivia, we originally recorded the name of his cat as Mr. Furbottom, but then someone found out later that it is a female cat, and so we had to change the sex of the cat. I thought they should have still kept it the same name, personally. Oh, and then Vegeta. But you have to ask me the question in Vegeta's voice if possible. Either that or yell it like Vegeta would.
Oh God. All right. As a Dragon Ball Z Yaoi fan,
Of course.
I was wondering if you could do a scene of Vegeta talking to Kakarot.
Oh, okay. Dragon Ball Z Yaoi is just called Owie. All right.
Oh man.
Here we go.
Oh man, here we go.
Oh, hey Goku. Hey Vegeta, what's going on? Hey Kakarot, I hate you. You're not very nice. I hate you. You're not very nice. Let's do it. That's about it. Can we do one more question? Oh my God.
Final question.
Maybe you could ask one collective question if you think about it really hard. Favorite color is green. All right, hold on. You pick for me.
Give it a good one.
All right.
Make sure it's a good one. Make sure it's a good one.
So I was wondering if you had like a favorite like weird like fan interaction, like favorite fan story, like you like.
Oh man, I have had so many interesting fan interactions. They all kind of bleed into one another. There's one person that asked me to sign their baby's butt with a Sharpie. That was a super awkward moment. Let's see. There was like anytime anyone's ever given me food that doesn't look prepackaged, I always get a little bit jittery. One person came and gave me like lunch meat that just looked really old, and it was a nice gesture. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Man, I did have this one interview one time that I really honestly thought I was being trolled in the interview, but I just think I don't know, he was just an interesting dude. But all of his questions were like, you know when you shoot fire out of your hands, right? And I'm like, I don't shoot fire out of my hands. Like, the character shoots fire. I know, but when you shoot fire out of your hands, is it hard to do that? I'm like, dude, I really don't honestly, like, I just talk pretty on a microphone. Like, so this panel is supposed to be at 4:39. Oh, the next panel starts in 5 minutes, huh?
Over here!
I've got to cut it off. I got to cut it off, or they're going to cut it off. And you know what they're going to cut off, right? And it ain't going to be pretty. Although, I will not be here tomorrow, unfortunately. I have to leave tomorrow morning because I have a daughter and she loves me still.
Aww.
She's only 2.5 years old. I'm trying to keep her alive and realizing that her dad actually is around sometimes. Except I want to answer his question. And then that's the last thing. I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Christopher. Sorry. I'm a huge fan of all of your works, including Dragon Ball Z and One Piece. This is my very first con, and I was wondering if I can get an autograph.
Very first con. The last thing, like, make it a real question. I'm sorry, hold on. Stay right there, though. Yeah, what's your real question? I'm sorry, audio people.
So you mentioned earlier that you were talking to yourself when you did the whole Garlic Jr. saga. How was it like to talk to yourself in Comic Jumper? Because I really love that game.
Oh, Comic Jumper. Any of you guys play that? Yeah, if you haven't, go play that game. It was the most fun I've had working on a video game. It's a company called Twisted Pixel, and they made stuff like that. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I wish I could talk for 2 hours with you, but maybe I can come back next year and we'll all talk.
Yeah.
See you soon, everybody, and be awesome.
All right, that's it from here.
Please do not rush